Good morning,
Good
Kevin.
morning.
Okay, we'll do, Ms. Mancucci, want to do the roll call?
Chairman Updegrove?
Here.
Mr. Boccio?
Here.
Mr. Casale?
Here.
Mr. DiPaolo?
Here.
Mr. Forma? Sorry. Mr. Forma?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson? Ms. Pack? Okay.
Okay, approval of the 5/31/24 meeting minutes.
I'll move Second.
Mr. Casale, second by Mr. Boccio, all in favor?
them. Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Aye.
Financial report.
So I've provided you with both the accounts again. So the first account is the NORLIC general account that we use to for everyday expenses. The balance in the checking account is $91,907.32 as of June 21st, 2024. I've provided you the transactions from the last meeting to this meeting. Also with the ARPA account, that one is down to $56,579.53 because we gave the $750,000 back to the county. And then also in your package is the grant funding. So if you look at the large spreadsheet, that's the LBI Phase 2 money. That's the 1.4 million. So we have committed the funds of $641,904.72. Uncommitted is $766,145.28. That's right at the top, highlighted in yellow. You see that? And over in the next sheet would be our Phase 1. Those are our general operating expenses that are reimbursable. So as of right now, I have to, that this goes up to June 21st. At the end of the month, I'll be filing a quarterly for April, May, and June. So this number is going to go up slightly, the 29,000. But right now, after like with that draw, we're down 59,874, 52 left in that grant. Anybody have any questions?
Nope, and I appreciate that because that's exactly what you're looking for.
Okay.
Makes it a lot easier and we know what we got left and what we use.
Okay. How's everybody? Good.
Okay, stabilization contractor bid review. Do we want to introduce our guests? How do we want to handle this?
I can give a
Want to do that?
brief introduction if you'd like.
Sure. Give an overview of what we're doing and,
Yeah.
bid review.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. While Jackie shares the screen, I just want everyone to know this is Chris Bendeman and Quentin Cook from Rodriguez Group. They are our project managers, go-to folks on the stabilization projects that we're working on specifically now in the city of Niagara Falls. So they have been out with crews to the 7 houses. We're going to talk about 6 of them. One of those 7 was deemed too far gone to fit within the scope of our program. That was one of the recommendations they made. We're going to go with that. We're going to demolish that one. The other ones each have been bid out. There's been an RFP sent out. There's been responses. They followed, our standard policy of getting those responses, weighing them against each other, and they'll go more into detail about their reasoning and the different contractors per project. The way the grant is being administered is each individual address now will have, like on our commitment log, that long spreadsheet, each individual address will be given bills for all of the work that gets done per address so that we can bill HCR by that address. So I just kind of, given you kind of a general overview. So I'll let you guys go into more depth, but I think we're all set. So
Sure.
Take it away.
Stand up or what?
Just wait a second. Mr. Forma, can you see the screen? Can you not hear me?
Oh,
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having us today. We appreciate it. Giving us the opportunity to actually explain what we do and how we're going to go about doing the process. I know that a lot of this is it's a large concept, so just, we'll make it a little bit easier for you to kind of grasp and understand it. Real quick, we just wanted to go through, it's kind of a brief, about our company and who we are. I don't know if you guys know who we are, what we do. We do a lot of work in the city of Buffalo, but we are.
Can we,
You can start the show. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Just tell me when
This
to
is,
play.
this is our company, our project team, who we have involved in it. As you can see down there with project management, you and myself, Greg Becker, who's gonna be our superintendent on this job, and then Quentin here, who's also gonna work in conjunction with Greg as a superintendent on the project. And yeah, that's good. So give you an idea of how we go about doing the project. So what we did is when we met with Matt and we came up with what houses were gonna be done. We went to every one of them with Matt, with Quentin, with Greg, our superintendent. We walked every property. And we were determining, okay, what can be done here? Is it viable to do? What we have to do? What could possibly be the cost on this? And that basically biggest bang for your buck. So we gotta stabilize these buildings. You walk into them and some of them are, the inside is just cluttered, wet, these floors are gone, and it all stems from the roof. So that's the first thing we did, along with the roof. Then the windows, 90% of them don't have windows left. So we went with the windows. Windows and doors. Then landscaping on the exterior, because that kind of just cleans everything up. And some of them, they hit what, trees?
Yeah, so there was trees and shrubs that were starting to sprout out from right next to the foundations on a lot of these properties. And our main concern about those is when you have those small little trees that are starting to sprout, the bigger they get, the closer they push in towards the foundation, they start causing cracks, and it just leads to further damage. So you want to get rid of those as soon as possible, just to save yourselves in the long run. And it also makes it a lot more presentable for when you guys finally decide what you want to do with them.
So we did that. We came up with our scope of work basically for what we're going to do for each house. And what we came up with was windows or roofing and siding, windows and doors, and your landscaping. That's what we decided to go out to bid with. Those are the things we can get done right away, and it would stabilize the home. And obviously at that point, you can go out to more of the house if need be. So kind of our steps that we did is we create a bid package. Generally what our bid package is, it's 250, 260 pages of basically specifications and we have our general conditions in there for all the contractors, like tent facilities and a scope of work that tells them exactly what they're bidding on. So when they do go to bid, they're bidding on exactly what we need them to do on each house. And then we also hold walkthroughs. So we walked all the contractors through each location, showed them what they had. So that's why if you see the numbers, some of the numbers are close, but some are wildly different. And we'll explain why that's the case too. But we went out to bid with everything. Bids came back and, what was that?
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
No, I was just talking. I apologize.
If anybody has any questions at any time, just please let me know. We went out to the bid and then the bids came back, and then what we do is to make sure that we are getting the most comprehensive bids possible, we interview our contractors. We sit down with every one of them and we go through the scopes to make sure that they have included everything into their bid package. One of the things that you sometimes find is that contractors will leave out certain things and say they're $20,000 less than somebody else. Well, they left out the entire siding package, that type of thing. So we wanted to make sure that we had everything, comprehensive on this. So that's what we did. And now we're at a point where we're ready to start awarding the jobs to the contractors and get the contractors on the site. Right now, we're looking at about a 2-month process for the construction. That's starting from, beginning to the end. We will be having our landscaping company on site doing maintenance as well until the houses are sold. We do have that working to the bid as well. So then, the exterior doesn't, get cluttered and filled with more trees and bushes that we have. So if you want to go to the next one.
Sorry, I'm trying to get.
Oh, you're fine.
I'm trying to get one of our board members.
So those are the addresses that we were doing. The one that we did take out of that is the Trunalone Place. The reason for that was we walked that and you could clearly see that there was fire damage on the one side. At that point, in order to repair that, it would just be astronomical cost-wise. So that's just not viable.
Unfortunately.
So this is our bid breakdown for the bids that we got in for Grove, and this is gonna be the same for all of them. This is also in the packets that we sent out. What you see is you're gonna see the roofing bid, a siding bid, and then a combined bid. So what we got is, we got combined bids from two contractors, and the third contractor broke everything out. If you see, the first contractor, Clay Hill, was very high when it came to everything. And we were trying to find out why he was high. And basically, we've dealt with him before, and his estimating was a little off. But if you look at what we have here, we have 27,000 and 43,000, I think is what it is for.
41 and Lee.
Yeah. So we sat with both of them because there is a difference there. So we sat with AKM, we sat with Lee, and basically made sure that they all had everything included into the bid. And then we asked them, the biggest question we asked them is, are you comfortable with your bid? Because the last thing that we want to do is get a contractor that's going to fail or, not going to be able to get the job done money-wise. So we want to make sure that they have everything that they need to do the job and that they're comfortable with their bid. So that's why we determined that they were, okay, we're going to go with AKM on this. Doors and windows, we went with Lee. He's using, all the material that we're using on this is middle of the road. Nothing cheap, stuff that's going to last. Everything's got a warranty on it. It's all middle of the road windows, shingles. What are we using for shingles? All set?
Shingles, we were looking at, they had a couple of them. It was, I forget the
It
names
was all
of
set
it.
and some other ones, but standard architectural shingles are what we're looking for. And windows, I think we were looking at all side Pella for the windows and the doors. Landscaping, that number down there, that includes the maintenance as well. So we do have that worked into the bid. So they're gonna come in and Grove, does Grove have trees? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yes,
there.
Grove is
It's got the one on
heavily,
the side, yeah.
yeah, Grove is heavily overgrown. And there's a tree in the backyard with a large branch that reaches up over top of the roof. And from the side of the building, you can actually see that it's been rubbing on the roof and causing some damage up there as well. And it's only going to continue to get worse.
So the process that we're gonna go about doing the project is we're gonna be doing the roofs first, then the siding, the windows and the doors. Landscaping is gonna be last because that's gonna clean everything up on the exterior, with the exception of these ones that have the trees. Because a lot of the trees are there and we need to get them out of the way before we can even do the roof. So we'll go in, stump and grub the trees, and then move on and have the remaining landscaping done to get the job. So this is basically just goes through a list of our contracts per home, per property. Now, we go per property on this. The way that we're doing the billing and the way that we're doing our bids was everything was per property. Everything was individual. So when we do the billing, the way we're gonna bill it is all individually. We've given every job a different job number, every property. So when you see how the billing will come in and how everything is set up, is all set up individually. The CM fee number on there, and like I've told Matt before, is that we're completely open book, completely transparent. So what that fee is basically what's called our DPE, which is our direct personal expense for the job, and then our profit, obviously. The direct personal expense is how much time we're gonna have one of three of us or all three of us on the property or on the job itself. So we calculate that in, determine the hours, determine the rates, and that's how we come up with our costs on that. The construction costs is obviously that's what we added together with all the bids that came in there. The contingency, to explain what that is a lot of times when we're doing government work or school work, what we do is we put an allowance or contingency on the school work or on the specific contractor. What we're able to do then is with that contractor, we can use from that allowance or contingency to pay for other items that come up in discovery when you're doing the construction project. So we didn't want to hamstring ourselves and put dollar amounts and allocate them to specific properties because then we have to use them on that property. So we created just a contingency of $30,000 that we could pull from on the total job, because we're gonna open up a roof and we're gonna find out that all the plywood needs to be replaced on it. So that's where we're gonna get that funds from. Instead of coming to you and saying, hey, listen, we have a change order for $25,000, we have the money set aside for that purpose. And if that money's not used, it goes back to Northern. That's kind of our process there. Questions, concerns?
On the landscaping, did I hear you right that those numbers on the landscaping includes grass cutting, maintenance
Yep.
until the house is sold?
Yeah, well, we have it set up, I think we have, what, 3-4 months?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we can always push that out. That fee is pretty much negligible anyway, what he charges on that. But we got him right now going every 2 weeks.
I think the assumption was that the work would be completed by September.
Yeah.
And then they would be listed, and then best case scenario, sold in October now, and that was, yeah, we didn't talk about that specifically. I think that there's a time limit on the landscaping, we may have to increase it. But we got a contingency, and if we don't use it, we have that.
Exactly.
And we
And
need others.
we don't have snow removal in it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
that's, So hopefully we sell it before.
Well, hopefully we sell
Hopefully
October.
we don't have that
Hopefully we
problem.
sell before October,
Exactly.
because we'll get our first snow in October this year, just because of this, right?
Yeah,
And
we do a very,
The $30,000, that's to cover all 6 properties?
yes.
Okay.
The only thing I would say we gotta, something we've talked about in the past, we just gotta stay close on is the landscaping and the tree cutting.
Yes.
So if we can talk about, because I don't know if there's any, we already did all the environmental compliance, but, and we said the tree cutting would be minimal.
Yeah, so really, we're only talking, the tree that's going in the foundation over at Grove, the back tree that's hanging over the actual roof itself, and then over on, which one is the one?
that was Whitney, where
Whit-
there's 3 pine trees that
Yes.
come very, very close to the building itself. And the upper branches overhang on top of the roof. So at minimum, we'd like to just kind of trim those so that it's not creating more debris that's just sitting on top of the roof.
If you, and this is gonna sound, if you notice any bats, that would be
Yes.
a problem, because we can't disturb the habitat of the northern long-eared bat.
So if that is the case, and we do run into that, would we, are we allowed to trim the trees?
In that case, if you find like a nest or a habit,
Yeah.
like something like that, just call me and
How does
we'll.
one identify what species of
I was
bat?
just gonna ask.
It's the northern long-eared bat. When we do the
Northern
US Fish and
long-ears?
Wildlife mapper, they'll put an overlay over all of your addresses and they'll say, in this area, the endangered species are. And this is something, and then HCR wants us to be mindful of these things when we're working. And
But if these guys go into a house and there are bats, like who says, oh yeah, that's one of the long-eared ones? What if they happen to have longer ears than normal bats for that species?
I think well, okay, so to make it simple, I think as long as you're not cutting the trees too much, it should be okay. Because that's what they're looking for, is to disturb the habitat involves tree cutting. So if they're in the house, just get them out of the house like that. And that's not a disturbing their habitat. But if they're in a tree and you cut that tree down, you're furthering their endangerment, I guess, is the reasoning behind it. So it's the bat, and it's in Lockport, it's the monarch butterfly.
Matt, this used to be such a great country. Before you were born. And, you know,
I don't know.
I'm just the bearer of bad news.
It's like monarch.
So, but no, thank you.
North Tonawanda, just out of curiosity.
It's the northern long-eared bat too.
Oh,
The
okay.
bats around here are.
Yeah, there was a big problem when we developed this park, or certain developments in the park ran into that. It was a big issue.
And I think our parcels are small enough that it's not going to impact anything, but just being mindful of our.
And one of the buildings is the one over on, is it Whitney, that's a,
Yeah, Whitney
it's
is
a mixed use, yeah. That one we're doing complete demo on the interior.
Oh, on Weston?
Yeah.
Weston.
It's the commercial brick building.
Are gutters included?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, gutters, trim, siding, the whole nine.
Yeah, the prices seem good.
Yeah, that was one of the things, and like, you look at prices, especially in today's day and age. That's what we said with the contractors, like, okay, are you sure with this? You good? They're like, yeah, absolutely. So we're confident, and that's why we have options there for colors and for siding and all that fun stuff, so.
Well, we appreciate your help. We appreciate you coming in too.
Yeah, thank
for the
you.
presentation. All right.
Any questions you guys have, you can send us an email, give me a call. You know, it's not a problem. We're, like I said, we're all transparency, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
He'll be on site handling security.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks again,
I
guys.
appreciate your work.
We just have one more item then. 6 Ashley Place disposition.
Yeah, do we need to make a motion to accept?
I just want to talk about
We'll chat about it.
the,
We talked about it, we did it. Is that no? I just have a quick question. Do we need to, have any kind of motion to accept those prices so that they can move forward?
Well, did we already select the general contractors?
Yes.
Yeah, we selected them already, so, and if it's, they followed our procedure to
Yes, so
procure.
we've already selected them, they've done what we've asked them to do, I don't think we have to take any further action. But
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make,
Yes.
if we want to be sure about it, they've showed
And
us,
these are just, they're estimates, right? They're not,
yes.
they're,
So I don't know.
Bid
if
out
we
the
do
work.
Anything at this point, I don't think we have to, if we do, and our attorney says we need to, then we'll just do it by email.
Okay.
Everybody has the actual estimates for each property,
Okay.
so,
all right,
okay.
thank you. I can talk about 6 Ashley Place too, a little bit if you want. So we did our, I think I mentioned we did our research on each surrounding parcel of 6 Ashley, which was a demo, our last demo we did in Lockport. The lot has been graded, seeded. The gentleman's name is Anthony Stasiak, Mr. Stasiak, who owns 8 and 10 Ashley Place, which is, according to Heather can, correct me if I'm wrong, but that he's the best fit given the situation. He's the left side owner. The right side owner is an LLC that has let the garage deteriorate to such a point that it's just a foundation left. And the house directly to the rear on Spalding Street is vacant. The first floor is vacant, and there may be people living on the second floor. But I don't. So I've gotten conflicting reports. Anyways, they're not. It doesn't seem like a great ownership situation there either. So Mr. Stasiak has agreed to the $1,200 price that we mentioned at the last meeting for the lot. Just in the interest of transparency, he is going back and forth with me a little bit about the grading of the lot. So I emailed you yesterday, Jason Dool, if you can just give him a letter saying he looked at the lot and it's.
Yeah, Jason was not, he was in, but I was trying to catch him yesterday and I didn't have an opportunity to speak to him about this. But
Okay.
yeah, it would be Jason that would have to take a look at it and answer the question.
That's basically his only contingencies. He just
Okay.
wants something from the city saying we inspected it,
Okay.
it meets the code, and Andrea and I look, I don't even know that there is a vacant lot code.
We haven't taken formal action on the $1,200 offer yet.
No.
Okay, I'll move that.
Okay.
Second by Mr. Vocio. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then obviously, Heather will follow up with Jason Newell.
Yeah.
And get him what he needs.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything else, Matt, project manager updates?
I really quickly, I just wanted to let couple bullet points. So the NU study is wrapping up. That's going to be coming out soon. There'll be a GIS tool. There'll be a draft. There'll be a report. There is a draft. There'll be a report. I can share that with everyone when it comes out. If you don't get it through other channels, I'll make sure you get it. 2010 Maine. I want everyone to know Rodriguez Group is also working on 2010 Maine concurrent with our environmental testing. So we have pre-development money already allocated to 2010 Maine for scopes of work and engineering and all that kind of stuff. We just can't make capital improvements yet until that environmental testing is done. So they've gone ahead, they've gotten one quote, they're getting more quotes for stabilization, but we're still kind of figuring out the plan for that building. But I want everyone to know we're actively working on that too. At the same time, we're doing the environmental testing at 78 Bridge Street. So that's going forward. Lyro is the firm we're using. And then just the last thing is I am, to our point about the grant and getting projects in the pipeline, I am working on the in-round list with Lockport. So Lisa and Sue and a little bit Jason too, and Heather, obviously. We are strategizing and we here at the county, we did some mapping and trying to, identify where the dollar will go furthest and what's again, thinking short, mid-term, and then longer term. So like what we can do now and what we can do in the future. So that's just where we're at with them.
Is their auction scheduled?
They haven't gotten a date yet, but they've got 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Oh, okay,
So it's gonna be a big one, I guess.
okay.
I think so, yeah, I mean.
So then maybe some opportunities would HCR monies apply?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what we're trying to get like a short term so that we could find a project to spend some HCR dollars in Lockport on. And then the longer term is for that subsequent round that's coming up at the end of the year. We'll have, something in the pipeline for that too.
Okay.
Very much appreciate your time, Matt, and working with the team on that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Happy to.
I appreciate that.
And that's it for me.
I don't have any other business. Does anyone else have anything else that they wanted to talk about, discuss, new items, old items? Okay, motion by Mr. Bocho to adjourn, second by Mr. Casal. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I'm not-